Hi, and welcome along to a brand new episode of the Arsenal Away. Like always, I'm Ashwin and he's Samrit. Again, before we get started, subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's a red box below. There's a bell icon next to it. Please hit it so you get notifications every time we come up with a video. We do 2 videos a week, so you'll get alerted every time. We're on Twitter as the Arsenal Away, and we're on Facebook as well now, the Arsenal Away. So just before getting into everything, uh, I mean, you and me predicted it, saying that you predicted probably a 1-1 draw, and I probably predicted a 2-2 draw. And just before I get you into this, I wanted to tell you that when I was watching the game, and when we were 2-0 up, and I think in the first 20 minutes, and we were cruising, and looking like we were about to cruise and go on to maybe win 4-5-0, I was thinking to myself that the predictions that we got was absolutely off, and probably like the two of us know nothing. But as it turned out, the two of us were right, and it just went from bad to worse. So I just want to get you in and ask you what are your thoughts about the game.
So I didn't watch the game live. I caught it today morning. Watched extended highlights of the game. You're right. I was while I was out. I was following the game on the phone, and I was surprised that we took the lead so early on.
Mm-hmm.
That too from with headers from both the centre back Socrates and Luis again. Doing well for us. I was pleasantly surprised, and also it seemed like we were pretty much in control, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
As usual, we didn't really. Both the goals came from set pieces. There wasn't really much from open play,
Yeah.
or no chance that I could think of, at least in the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes that came from open play. It was just purely from some set pieces, and which is fine. I mean, to me, it doesn't really matter how it goes, and as long as we can get some level of control over the game, be it however that happens, and I'm okay with it. But the point is that we got the goals really early, both really quickly as well, and then it just sort of went back to the same old, same old. I mean, the Chambers foul on Zaha while he was initially booked. I don't know why he was booked. I think that was as clear as a penalty as it comes.
Mm-hmm.
And we still should have been in control because you're going into halftime at 2-1 with a reasonable control over the game. Palace didn't do too badly. I thought it was all right, but the second half was just I don't know. It's not even Jekyll and Hyde with this team anymore. It's just I'm not really sure how I can put it. It's just weird watching this team play.
See, the thing is, after going 2-0 up, you'd expect the team to, go push on for the third goal, kill the game, rest a few players because we have Liverpool coming up, we have Wolves coming up, then Leicester coming up, and Europa League game coming up. So games are coming thick and fast. And but we've turned out to be typical Arsenal. We've taken a 2-goal advantage, and then we sit back. We've given away a penalty, which gives them confidence. And like you mentioned, it once you're 2-1 down, the scoreline is uh, it's a very dangerous scoreline. You've given the opposition that sniff of making it 2-2 and getting on the being the offensive team and being the better team. And that's exactly what Crystal Palace did. They came at us in the second half because we sat back and we made Zaha look the world class player that he is towards the end of the game. I think the last 10 or 20 minutes, it was just them holding the ball and we were lucky not to go down 3-2 because I remember the 85th or the 87th or 88th minute or 90th minute sometime, there was a counter on from our corner and Zaha was one-on-one with Guendouzi and Guendouzi literally had to rugby tackle him down to bring him down. Luckily, he was in our own half. Ideally, it could have been a red card because he was last man and Zaha was through. And had that happened, we would have probably ended up losing the game 3-2. And whatever said and done, I know Emery is under a lot of pressure, but had we lost that game from being up 2 goals at home to Crystal Palace losing 3-2 again, would have been, I think that would have been the final nail in Emery's coffin. Like everybody would have been like, that's it.
No, I mean even before that, the goal that Palace scored to equalize with Ayew, pretty much a tap in, and there's no Arsenal player around him to even watch his run.
Yeah.
Or towards the second half when I think it was Zaha itself who just narrowly missed, narrowly went wide.
That was like the first minute of the second half.
Yeah. So I think we. Uh, I mean, it's a pattern that we sit back and hold off and expect teams to expect us to hold off even a half decent team, let alone the likes of a City or Liverpool. I just don't see what the idea behind that is. You're not playing anyone to screen the back four. You're not even you're even the remotely defensive minded players are not on the pitch. And that is what happens. I mean, you're right. If Guendouzi was anywhere in anywhere much behind, he would have been sent off, and Zaha would have been through on goal.
See, the thing is, we everybody keeps talking about how poor Arsenal's defense is. If you got Prime Maldini, John Terry, Sol Campbell, Rio Ferdinand in this team, they would not be able to defend. It has nothing to do with how we are set up defensively. It has everything to do with how our midfield is set up. Our midfield is not good enough to provide the attack, is not good enough to provide a shield for the defense. And I've been saying this to you in the previous pods. It's where we're losing the game as the midfield. You cannot play Xhaka, we'll get to him later, and Guendouzi together because I think they're two similar players. If you need to play Xhaka, you have to play Torreira behind him. You cannot play Torreira as number 10. I know Emery's been talking about wanting to use him as a number 10, but you have to play Torreira in the six and push Xhaka up a little bit so that he doesn't have the responsibility of screening the back four, and then you play somebody else. You play like a Danny Ceballos or you play a Willick or you play somebody else in that midfield. Because right now our midfield is not protecting the back line and our midfield is not providing enough for our forward line. And I think you mentioned this before, I've mentioned before, now people are finally catching on. Aubameyang's going through a drought. Aubameyang has kept him in a job. So if Aubameyang doesn't fire, Emery looks like shit. And that's exactly what's happening with us right now. We got two goals.
I mean, irrespective of our firing or not, there's just been no service to either of our three forwards. Plus, there's just been because of how the midfield is set up. There's no one from anywhere outside of the pitch who's anywhere outside of the front three who scored. If you leave aside the centre halves with how we had last season where goals were distributed right throughout the team, or even in the latter half of the Wenger years, we had team goals distributed. This time, last season it was again Auba. This season it's again been the centre halves, and it's been Martinelli and it's been Aubameyang. And you're not seeing enough people on the score sheet, which means that there is there's a team that's completely devoid of ideas of how you go about creating things on the pitch. And look, as far as the Emery piece goes, I think we will find out now sooner rather than later what happens. I think by Leicester we should probably have our answer. As far as the results goes, as far as the results of sorry, not results, as far as the consequences of yesterday's games go, I think I was hearing Gunnar Block talk about it. He mentioned that in Emery's reign, there have been two games that have pretty much defined. They've been defining parts for Emery. One has been the Palace game last season, 3-2. That pretty much ended our hopes for Champions League, and this game because it not only turned fans against Emery. I mean, I think they're already turning, but I think that direction of anger that should have maybe come out on him came out on Xhaka. And now that I'm talking about Xhaka, I think while his reaction wasn't justified, being club captain, I can understand his reaction because he's faced abuse on Instagram, on social media. His wife's faced abuse. His children have faced abuse from Arsenal fans. And while I understand that his reaction may not have been justified, you're talking about Arsenal supporters who should ideally be looking out for their own team and their own players, just being just being vile, and this is just a cycle now that is being repeating over the last 3-4 years. It was Wenger first, it was Ramsey in the middle,
A boy at one
um,
point.
it was Ebo at one point. It was last year as well. I think someone got stick. Ozil has gotten stick,
Mustafi's got
and
stick.
Mustafi's got stick. And the thing with, look, I understand that the Ozil chants are going around right now, and that is just, as someone online said, Ozil chants going around are pretty much are as close to damnation as you can get for Emery, because it's very clear where people are with Emery. And of course, I mean, when the longer people are not around, I mean, distance makes the heart grow fonder,
Hard broke
because
on.
people are not seeing Ozil, so they think that he's the answer to what's happening, and he may very well not be the answer.
Yeah.
But now what happens is, if Emery suddenly decides tomorrow that, okay, things are not working out, let me bring him back. And let's say he has a good run of games, Emery will be made to look like an idiot that he's kept someone out, now he's performing. And that's a chance I don't think he wants to take anymore, which is to the detriment of Arsenal Football Club. It's irrespective of what, however he may perform, good or bad, but he's not going to take a chance anymore.
Sorry, I just have to go back to the Xhaka point. I know, see, I think we discussed this at the start of the pod, before the pod. I mentioned to you saying that, it's good that we had 24 hours after the game and we didn't shoot this a little earlier because my views on Xhaka would have been a little different. Uh, I am absolutely one of those that feel that what happened yesterday from the fans was not right in the first to start with, right? He, as soon as his number went up, they cheered him going off, right? Okay, and then it followed by a round of loud booing because he was going off slowly. Okay, now the same thing happened with Mesut during the Europa League final when he was coming off, when he was frustrated, he got booed, right? Xhaka got booed the same way. Fans have constantly abused him, but for him to be club captain, I know he's human, he's cracked, because he's possibly he's faced abuse on social media. His pregnant wife has faced abuse. They've received death threats, and anybody would crack, right? Like it almost felt like the game we were about to lose or we drew because of Xhaka, but it wasn't his fault. He was actually not that bad. But for him, who was club captain, where children look up to them. You have teams in the under 10s, the 14s, the 18s, the 17s, or whatever, the 23s. They're all looking up to him. Everybody. So, for him to do that in public, to tell the fans to F off, to take off the armband and throw it, not even give it to Aubameyang, he threw it on the ground, to take off his jersey and go down the tunnel was not something that you would expect a club captain to do. Sure, if there's something wrong, you can probably express your frustrations in a different way. But for him to do that was completely out of order. And I know, like I told you, like you said the same thing that he's gone through a lot, and I see that he's human, and it's not fair for a fan to come and abuse him, and for him when he gives it back for the fan to get shocked, right? Like I understand that, but you can't. You have to be disciplined, and because you're such a big club's captain. I mean, Arsenal is a global team. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that. You have lots of eyes watching you, and if you do something like that, I just feel like if he walks out wearing the armband for the Liverpool game or the Wolves game like nothing ever happened, I mean, for me, that just shows the sort of person Emery is. Because essentially, a captain is supposed to shadow what the manager says on the field. And if Emery wants to pick a guy like that, okay, even if Xhaka has to come apologize, maybe he comes and he does well, maybe things will be forgotten in a few weeks' time. But after what has happened, if he's not punished by either being stripped of the captaincy or he's been given some time off. Like I was done with Emery before. I don't know at what level my hate for Emery will go on. Like,
No, so look, a lot of this abuse that's been directed at Xhaka, I think, has come out more on just based on how we've played, and it's been misdirected. Look, I understand that people have issues with him as a player,
yeah,
and he's made some very high profile errors. He's come out and said things that haven't gone down too well. Let's disregard the fact that whether they were right or wrong. The fact still remains that he was Emery's number one choice, and he left it up to the players to decide. He was their most popular choice, which is why he got the captain's armband. Now, this is not a popularity contest. Leading a club.
Yeah.
This is a captain is someone who's respected and who's invariably feared, and you have people who look up to him, like you very rightly said. You have people coming in from the academy who look up to certain people. A club captain, whoever it may be, is one of those people. And for him to have done that, it was out of order. I understand why that reaction may have happened. He should have maybe not. He shouldn't have done it, or maybe he should not never have stepped that crossed that line. But the buck here stops at Emery. For again, you keep calling him a coward. That is what he is. He That's what he is in this situation, at least.
You tell
He
me.
didn't.
Sorry, I have to cut you out here. You tell
Yeah.
me. We've given Emery one whole season. He's got 10 more games. So in total, he's played about 48 games. Plus, if you add your Europa League games, he's played about 65 games, 60 with all the cups and everything included. Frank Lampard has come in, has had his best player sold. Eden Hazard is gone. Has had a transfer ban. Okay, he's picked up youth players that have never played for Chelsea before. In 10 games, you can see the sort of football he wants to play. You can see the style of football he wants to play. And you can see how his team is reacting to it. Right? Going away and winning 4-0 to Burnley, they're what, the third, the fourth in the league right now. A point, I think, level on points or 1 point behind Leicester, and you can see the sort of football he wants to play. While that's the thing, I told you I'd get behind any manager. I'd give him how much ever time they need. If there was something there for him to show, like Klopp came, didn't win it in the first 4 years. He's still not won the league, but he's shown signs. He's won the Champions League. Pep did the same thing. Came, didn't win the league. You know, but you have signs of him wanting to. Wanting to set up his team in a particular way, wanting them to play a certain side of football. What style of football are we playing? I'm not even getting to Brendan Rodgers. Look at what Brendan Rodgers has done. I was reading a stat that said since Brendan Rodgers has come, Jamie Vardy has scored the most goals compared to any of the strikers in the league. And
Yeah,
Jamie
and
Vardy
Leicester
is
was another
33.
team, another team that lost their best defender.
Yeah, Leicester lost their best defender. They've changed their squad completely. They're playing different football from what they were playing under Ranieri. The winning team that won the Premier League that 3 years ago is not the same anymore. Jamie Vardy is 33. They've gone away to Southampton and won 9-0. 9-0. Like, we are going to Southampton 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later after the international break, a week after the international break, and there is no chance in hell they're winning 9-0 there. Like, if we get a 1-1 draw, I'll be happy over there. Because that's just how football we're playing. And I mean,
Yeah, it's again what happened yesterday from the results we've had towards the end of last season to his delaying naming a captain well into the season. We're a month since he's named his 5 captains, and already in a month you've had the Xhaka fallout. I don't know what happens with Xhaka. It's not. I can't speculate. But what remains at the end of the day is the fact that he, like you said, a captain reflects a manager's vision or his persona on the pitch, and that is what has happened. It's pretty much culminated into not being vocal enough. Not any error that happens is invariably any high profile error that happens is invariably through Xhaka. Also, what I think, while I agree that he doesn't have a philosophy, I think we've established that for a while now. He's just someone who doesn't seem to get what either the club is about or what or how he wants to be setting up, which the likes of a Rodgers and a Klopp, or I mean, there was a time when Emery was given benefit of doubt because he's still building, and Klopp had issues with when he came in. Agree, Klopp had issues with the squad that he came in, but then he had a clear out and he had already started to play them in a certain manner. We haven't done that either. He's been backed this summer. I remember speaking to you earlier, so you and a couple of people earlier on the summer, that look, he's got his squad now.
Yeah, and if he doesn't deliver, he has to.
And if he doesn't deliver, and that's it. We've apparently brought forward next summer's budget this season, and I think today David Ornstein in his Athletic article said that the club has done whatever they can. There's not much more they can do to support him, right? Especially when it comes to resources and backing him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to him now to deliver. I think it's probably going to get it will get a lot worse as the games come, and we're bang in the middle of it now. I think Leicester is the game right before the international break, I think.
Yeah.
So we're playing Liverpool tomorrow or on Wednesday. Then we've got Saturday, we've got Wolves at home. Then we're playing away to Leicester.
No, we have Victoria away on Wednesday.
Victoria, I mean, yeah. So we've got Victoria midweek. So that would mean we're playing Leicester on a Sunday.
No, we're playing Leicester on Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday night.
Saturday night?
Yeah. Because
we're playing Victoria on Thursday?
No, we're playing Victoria on Wednesday. They moved it to Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, no, I think it's going to get worse, Ashwin. It's very clear that he's well in over his depth, and it needs to change. And I think it probably will, because just how PR savvy this the Kroenkes are, and how publicly they've backed him, and the way that they've announced players and him saying, be excited, whatever. I think he doesn't stay till the end of the season. I'd be very surprised if he's here till the end of the season. I think he'll be gone. I was saying December end. I think it'll be much before that.
Yeah, I think we discussed that, saying that last week only, saying that, you were saying December is going to be a crucial period for him. I don't think he'll make it to December. But you and me saying that's not going to change anything. There was an article today, like you mentioned, Josh has come out saying that he's backing the manager till the end of the summer. And there was another article.
Look, I mean, he's not going. They're not going to come out and say no. They're going to sack him. Whatever. It's going to happen anyways. My fear is that I don't think they're going to make the right announcement.
So see, what really worries me is, for the first time, they've actually revealed who are the 8 candidates that Arsenal were picking. Let me just read it for you. The names that were picked before Unai Emery got the job was basically, hang on, where's it gone? Here we go. Okay, so Allegri was the first name. There was Arteta. There was Henry. There was Ragnick. There was how do you pronounce this?
Julian
Lopetegui. Yeah. There was Sampoli. There was Patrick Vieira. There was also talks of Conte. There was Eddie Howe,
Sarri, Howe,
and Rodgers. Right. I think I mentioned this on the group, and I'm going to say it again here. I understand everybody else that Emery was better than, because the others are unproven. But how do you pick Emery over Allegri, or how do you pick Emery over Conte? Conte had just come to Chelsea, changed the formation, changed everything, played a 3-5-2, made everybody in the Premier League change the formation to 3-5-2, and won the league. Allegri had pedigree coming from Juventus, taken them to the Champions League final 2 times, winning the Serie A multiple times. How does Emery trump Allegri and Conte? The only thing I can see is that maybe Conte and Allegri wanted a higher contract and they weren't ready to give that, and Emery probably came in. But I just don't understand this. Like, how have we appointed a manager knowing that it's going to be hard after Arsene leaves after 21 years, and you've already seen that with United? Why would you want to jeopardize that by going in for an average manager, maybe paying him like maybe 60,000 pounds less a week? Why would you want to do that?
I think the thinking behind Emery was, let's appoint someone who's safe, who can just get us back into Europe. If not in 1 and 2 seasons, and then figure things out from there. Again, let's not forget that Emery was a Gazidis appointment.
But are we going to? Are we going to get back in Europe this season with Emery?
Not at all. That's not happening.
But our squad is enough to get into Europe.
Our squad is good enough to get into the top 4. I think. Just with how everyone else is playing around us, which we'd hoped a couple of weeks back that the likes of Tottenham, United, Leicester, Chelsea, just with their current state of flux, you would have expected us to be the best of the rest and outside the top 2. But I don't see that. I think it's looking very, very comfortably that it will be Chelsea and Leicester who will finish top 4, and it will be us and United and Spurs battling it out for positions
5, 6, 7.
4 spot. Yeah, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7. honestly, I would like us to not be in Europe than than play in the Europa League.
Yeah.
Because it does nothing for us. Maybe a season away will be the reset button that's required. If it means losing players, then so be it. But it'll give us a chance to this so-called uh, youth influx that's come in. Maybe get players who actually want to be there. Because let's face it, if we're not in the Champions League next season, none of your big stars are going to stay. Ceballos has anyways not done anything to deserve a deal. He's going to move out. Orba's going to head out. He's in his final. He's in the twilight of his career anyways. Orba will head out. Pepe might stick around for another season or two. Lacazette's not a stick around. Not going to be here. Bellerin has no reason to stay. Tierney will stick around. Everyone else is pretty much replaceable in that squad. Guendouzi might not want to stick around. If he's your next golden boy, you want to do anything and everything to ensure that he's playing against the best of the best week in, week out. And we are not that great. We're not an attractive proposition. Why would any world class player want to come? Our fans abuse our players. We have no philosophy. We have a manager who very blatantly throws players under the bus. He has no idea what he's talking about. 2 weeks, 1 week, it's someone's training really well and he's ready. The next week, he just passed on the blame and said it's the board who've told me. It's a collective decision. So I don't know. It's a complete shit show as of this point, and it's not going to get any better. You're not going to expect Josh to come out and say that, oh, he's been a piece of shit and we're done. Ideally, I don't think Xhaka will. I would like to see him not be captain anymore, and I'd like to see, as you said, give him time off away.
So, if Xhaka's not your captain, who's your next captain?
I would give it to Bellerin. He's been the only player today who's come out and who's said what he has. And because I remember when we were talking about the 5 choices, I think Bellerin was the first name that came up from the both of us when he said he should have been made captain, because he's someone who knows what the club is about and who identifies with the fans and who's been there right from an early age. How or why there were 5 captains made, I think it just boils down to that indecisiveness that creeps in from the manager right into the team, where people don't know what to do anymore. And this is us. I mean, for Emery, it's all fine. It's all fine and dandy. No one's talking about the result or the absolute piece of shit VAR decisions that we had yesterday, because he knows that, okay, while the discussion is going to be on Xhaka, no one's going to talk about the game, and that's what's happening. That's how the narrative is spinning. And I don't know. It was hurtful to see what was happening as an Arsenal fan. I think this has been the last night, especially, and the reaction online. I don't think I've seen as many people they were just done.
Had that. So I'm glad you brought up VAR, because that second decision where that goal was disallowed for Socrates was absolutely shocking. I mean, how can you say Callum Chambers fouled a player when he was the one who was fouled? We were actually looking for a penalty decision before Socrates put the ball into the goal. And I mean, even if we won that game 3-2, it would have just papered over the cracks of how shit we were. We've now conceded 2 goals against Villa, 2 against Victoria, and 2 against Crystal Palace at the Emirates. Everyone said we need to change Arsene Wenger because Arsene Wenger is not doing a good job. Newsflash: Arsene Wenger won all his home games. Played better attacking football. Always looked like he could score. We have gone. It's got so badly. It's gone down so badly for us that he's not even winning his home games anymore. And I don't, teams like you'd expect teams for Arsenal to put away, because sometimes on paper you'll be like, okay, Arsenal play Wolves, Arsenal play Leicester, Arsenal play Crystal Palace, that's easy 9 points. But today, you and me both know that's not. Like Wolves coming at home next week, even though we're playing at the Emirates, I'm like, I'm wondering as to who's going to score the goals for us and how we are going to keep a clean sheet. And I don't even want to get into the Leicester game away, because the King Power is not an easy stadium anyway to go to, and the way they're playing football, and the way Rogers likes to have a tight system set up. He presses when he knows when to press, he knows when to attack, and they're just lethal. Even if no, I'm just saying, even if we were not the best, if, even if you're getting the victories, but we're not the best team, had we had to go and play Southampton the way Leicester did, we would not put nine past them. Yeah, because we don't have that killer instinct in us. We'd have probably won that game 2 or 3-0 and come back, but we never put nine past them. Like Leicester putting nine past Southampton was them to put out a marker saying that, listen, we are here. You guys are not considering us, but we are here. We're gonna probably spoil everyone's party.
Yeah, that Leicester game, I fear for us. I think it might be it might be really terrible for us.
And it might be the day he gets sacked because there's an international break after that.
Look, I don't know. I think you and me can speculate about when he gets a sack. I'm genuinely just taking it game by game. I don't think he should be around anymore. Anyways, I think it should have ended last night.
Yeah.
But I genuinely fear for us when we go to Leicester, because they're a good team. We are not. We just have the names on paper. We're far from being a team who can even compete against the likes of a Leicester. Or let's leave Leicester. We can't even compete against the likes of Sheffield, let alone a Leicester. And I think it's gonna be ugly. The Leicester game. Again, I'm just gonna keep coming back to the fact that whatever decision needs to be done, it needs to happen quickly. Let's not sit and just keep thinking about who, what, when, where, why. Just, if it's not going, change it. You can do it. And I think just even if they look at it just monetarily, someone said last evening that
to sack him.
Sack him is £6 million to not qualify for the Champions League is £40 million.
45 million.
Yeah, 45 million pounds. I mean, that's what. There is your answer. If you wanted in cold hard facts, I think that's probably as direct as you can get it. So yeah, I think yesterday was just a sad day. It was
something that you and me both predicted. We knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, because you can't see you can't look at this Arsenal team and with any form of confidence or assurity say, those are 3 points.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me if you pull up your fixture list now, tell me till December how many points that you see us getting. I predicted when the season started, I don't think us getting past 60-65 points. And that's pretty much where we are at this point. I don't think we're gonna at this rate. I don't see us getting past that mid-60s mark, if at all we get there. And that mid-60s mark last season was, I think, 6th or 7th.
And I think that's what our level is right now. We're probably the 5th or 6th best team in England right now. I don't even think we're the best.
I mean,
top 5
we've lost 3 games now. Lost 3, drawn 3, won 4?
No, I don't think we lost 3 games. We lost 2 games.
Oh, we lost 2 games.
Yeah, Sheffield and
fifth.
Liverpool.
We're still 5th somehow. We're still 5th. And I think the top 4 is going to start pulling away. I think by the time November comes in, that's going to start pulling away until we get our act together. So we need to figure that stuff out. Whatever happens immediately.
And usually November for us is a deadly month. We haven't even begun November.
November is invariably just a terrible month anyways.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get some positives out of the game, out of yesterday. The only positive I could probably see was that Tierney played really. Oh, I just want to bring this up as well. We're 2-2, 72 minutes played. Tierney is one person who's actually been playing really well for us and crossing the ball in really well. Instead of throwing on an attacker, Unai Emery brings on a left-sided defender. He brings on Kolasinac for Tierney. I mean, what was that? Okay, you can tell me that Tierney needed a little rest, but why? Why would you want to do that? Bring on another attacker. We need goals. Why are you getting on a defender? What was the point of that?
Yeah, I don't know. His subs are baffling. He he brought on Xhaka when he could have brought on Martinelli as well.
Yeah.
when he took off Xhaka.
And
So
Saka is I think we discussed this before. Saka's got this second most goals after Aubameyang in the team. Not Saka. Martinelli's got the next,
Martinelli, yeah.
yeah, the next best goals. He's got 5 goals. And okay, I get
Mhm.
them. They're different competition, but you've got a goal threat coming on there. Why would you take him off? And I honestly felt that getting Xhaka wasn't the worst player that day. There were players that were worse than him that he could have taken off. And it's true that the reaction that whatever Xhaka felt, we discussed it, but I don't know. His team setup was baffling. His tactics were baffling. His substitutions were baffling. I just can't get a positive out of the game. I just
Yeah.
don't see it.
Yeah, it's not there was nothing there except for I think there's some stat floating around that for centre half scoring for the first time. Two Arsenal centre half scoring for the first time together. Not happened for a while, but that's
Did you
as far as
know
it goes.
we had no shot on goal from open play yesterday
Yeah, not
at,
surprising.
at the Emirates? This is not even away.
Not
This is
surprising.
at the Emirates. And uh, I see. The thing is, I turned on him. I mean, I didn't turn on him. I saw that we were nothing under him last season, and I kept saying it. I think Hugh kept saying it as well, and a lot of people said we're being negative. You need to give the manager time. But give him time for what? I don't know how long I can do this. I don't want to come here every week and bash the manager. I want to back the manager, but he's not giving me anything to back him.
Yeah, no, there's no reason to. Well, no, there's no reason is the wrong way to put it. There's nothing that he has done to justify um, remaining as Arsenal manager currently. And look, maybe with Arsenal there was an emotional connect that pretty much everybody had. With him, there's no connect. Um, I, I'm pretty agnostic when it comes to what people are saying about him. If they like him, great. Um, I have zero feelings towards whether he remains or stays. After Arsene Wenger, it was more about the club doing well than a particular affiliation with anyone who comes on board.
No, I mean
Uh,
you're right. You're completely right. Like Wenger got a lot of hate, and he was an Arsenal legend, right? He won us multiple Premier Leagues. He won us FA Cups even when we were doing badly. He was the invincibles because under him. So if people could turn on Wenger after what he's done, I mean, why can't you turn on Emery? Because what has he done for us? He's not won us anything. We don't owe him anything. And I was reading another stat from the Athletic only saying that senior executives were really happy with what Emery did last season, and they were pushing for him to get a new deal.
get a new deal. Yeah, I read that.
I mean, if that happened, I would have probably had to stop watching Arsenal football. I can't.
Mm.
It would have been hard to stomach something like that.
Yeah, no, I don't see any reason, especially the way with how the season ended, the 4-1 in the Europa League final. There was, which was abject, a performance as you'll see. Well, not really. I think we've seen enough and more over the last 15, 17 games that he's managed Arsenal. So yeah, that's where I am at it. I'd rather us pull the switch, pull the plug immediately.
Hmm.
If it means giving it to Freddie or whoever that they think is, I think it would probably be an interim appointment. Um, I said in the last pod as well, Ashwin, you and I've seen enough and more clubs be in the situation, and it's invariably the manager who. It's a matter of time now for him. I think he knows that as well, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him now just to give Ozil a run in and just to see, you know what, I think it's let's see what you're about.
I don't think. I
Um,
think you brought up a good point to the start of the pod, mentioning that I don't think he'd want to risk that. If Ozil came in and the side's fortunes turned, and if Ozil started producing the quality that he genuinely can, it would just look like it would make Emery look like a clown, and I don't think he'd want to risk that.
yeah, no, I'm saying if he thinks that if that is if I mean right now we couldn't buy a result if we wanted to. Um, and if playing Ozil is benefits the club, then great. I don't think he will though, just because of what I said. It's going to make him look like an idiot. I mean, he already is. To be fair, he's not really doing himself any favors. But yeah, that's where I am with him. Just whatever needs to be done immediately, and I think we'll come to know by end of next week.
I'm
Next Saturday, we'll come to know where we are.
I'm so disgusted that the game last night that I don't even want to ask you for your player ratings, and I don't even want you to even rate Emery. Like I just don't think it makes sense as to where we are. So I'm quickly going to just jump into the game that we have tomorrow night. We're going away to Liverpool in the Carabao Cup. Again, one of those games which is not going to be easy, even if Liverpool play their youngsters. Which I don't think he will. I probably think that Klopp is going to play a mixed team where he's going to have at least 70% of his first team squad, and he'll throw in a few youngsters. Youngsters in the terms of I'm talking more like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Those are the people, his fringe players who start the game. But it's not going to be an easy game again.
Yeah, no, I think it probably will be fringe players, the youngsters who'll probably be there. For all you know, we might again hoping against hope. The youngsters might just surprise us because there's no way that the Carabao Cup is a focus for him. It's the league. It's very evident, and yeah, I mean, I'm very indifferent now to the Carabao Cup. Anyways, tomorrow's game, in light of what's happened over the last 24 hours, I genuinely I'm past the point of caring for at least the Carabao Cup. I want us to fix what's happening. I don't know the lineup he's going to play. I frankly don't care. I just want us to, and I think that is where most Arsenal fans are now. Don't they just don't give a shit anymore because it's the same old thing that's been happening for the last 4 or 5 years. And while we've ironed out most of and gotten rid of a lot of the old baggage, and look, whatever decision that we decide to go with, even if we decide to become one of those clubs who are sacking managers like what the likes of United have done. If it benefits the club, then go for it. Because I think you and I both realize that the current football scenario, and as such, is where you expect results immediately. So yeah, I mean, tomorrow's game. Sorry, I digress a little bit, but tomorrow's game is. I mean, I really couldn't care less who starts. I mean, I'm assuming it'll be the youngsters who'll get their chance tomorrow. Because Wolves again becomes important on Saturday.
I'm absolutely opposite to what you feel, man. Like I'm actually excited about the Carabao Cup. So I look forward to the Europa League games because those are the sort of games that I started enjoying more because we play better football. The youngsters are hungry. They play attacking football. He doesn't set off teams over there. So even though I think we're going to go and get beat against Liverpool, I'm excited because the youngsters are on show. They probably get to run around and show what they're made of. What I'm not looking forward to at all is the Saturday game against Wolves because it's just going to be the same thing. We're going to make them look like prime Barcelona, and they're either going to score from a counter attack or a corner or some sort of set piece. And the weekends I just don't look forward to it anymore. Like I think we were discussing this, saying that weekends used to be around football. We used to have a timetable scheduled around Arsenal. Now it's become more of a like I'm okay if I miss the game. I'm okay because I just can't back this manager anymore. I just can't back this team that he's put out anymore.
Yeah,
and I don't know how much worse it has to get for it to get better. I mean, we've discussed this that it has to get worse for it to get better, but I don't know how long it can go on. I don't know when the board is going to step up and say, okay, listen, that I think we're done. I think they probably give him till Jan because they try to see if he can turn things around. But knowing how dangerous our December is and knowing how we usually fare in November, the signs don't look ominous. Like I feel that I feel personally Leicester is going to be the final straw for him because it's the international break after that, so they probably give him a sack. Then they have enough time to probably bring in somebody. Obviously, he's not going to get time to change things around massively, but I think the board will have enough time to think. And if we lose the Leicester game, if we lose the Liverpool game, and we lose the Wolves game, or even if we get a draw from that, you know, I think he's done. I think Emery is finished as the Arsenal manager then.
Yeah, you're right. I pretty much echo your opinion there. It's not next next three games are where I think his it probably will be decided in next three games because
Make or
it's
break
not.
for him.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we've been saying that for a while now, but I think that the Leicester game is where I think it'll all come down to.
Sad times for
So
Arsenal
yeah,
fans, man.
cheery pod this. But yeah, that's where we are at this point. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been well, at least a little bit cathartic. I hope it was for you as well. Um, okay, as Ashwin said right at the start, we're on Twitter at the Arsenal Away. We've got a new Facebook page. Uh, Click the subscribe button and the bell icon to keep getting notifications on when our new stuff goes up. And yeah, that's been us. I'm Samrid. He's Ashwin, and we will see you in the next episode. Take care, guys.
Thank you.